Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Recruit Review. Steven Ostentoski here of MGoFish, bringing you episode 12 here, 4-star outside linebacker out of Boston, Massachusetts, Kalel Mullings. All right, guys, before we get into this, have to bring something up. This will probably lose me some subscribers, but I think this is too important to not bring up. I'm urging you guys to help me support the Black Lives Matter movement. This is obviously in response to the unjust killing of George Floyd. I've donated $125 to the George Floyd Memorial Fund. Why that number? There are 125 available spots on a roster for a given NCAA football team. I love Michigan football. I know you guys love Michigan football. Many of these players, coaches, members of the staff are African Americans. The sport that we love would not be the same without these members of the community, Black student athletes and members of the staff. I want to create a way here to support these student athletes who may be watching this video. I've had recruits in the past who have responded to the tweets for these videos, so your support can really be seen here. I provide multiple ways in the description, multiple links that provide great ways to support the movement, not just monetarily, but other ways as well. On top of that, 1 week from the time that I'm posting this video, I'll be donating $1 each for every like and comment that this video receives. So if we get 50 likes and 20 comments, that'll be $70 additional dollars I'll commit to donating. This is to make things even easier for you guys. So while I urge you to check out those links, see what you can do, I want to make it as easy as possible to make an impact here. So I will tweet out the contribution to the NAACP Legal Defense and Education Fund. That's where those additional funds will go. So I'll make sure to post that 1 week from today, the day that this video is posted. Just want to get that out there. I think we can make a difference, and let me know in the comments, you guys, just what's going on with what you're seeing in your community. I'm interested to hear how you all are doing. Okay, let's get back to the video. So for the poll on episode number 10, you guys voted for Kalel Mullings as well as some suggestions. So thank you for that. Continue to participate in that poll. I appreciate all your suggestions thus far. Let's get into this episode. All right, for high school, he went to Milton Academy. I mentioned he's out of Northeast in Boston, Massachusetts. Milton Academy, one of the stronger programs in Boston, by far the best recruit that the school has produced thus far. He helped the team win the Independent School League Championship as a captain his senior year in 2019. He was Gatorade Player of the Year in the state of Massachusetts for 2019. He played 5 years for varsity, which is pretty crazy. He played running back, safety, hybrid slot defender, inside linebacker. He even returned punts as well. So obviously an all-around athlete. He did lose most of his sophomore year after a shoulder dislocation, as well as much of his junior year on offense due to a hand injury. So a ton of the footage I'll be showing here on the B-roll is running back. He has a ton of footage here I'm really excited to show. So I'll throw his stats up on the screen. Keep in mind, I only have his senior stats here, but they're all over the board, given he played all over the field. And I'll throw his metrics up as well. Not that much to go off of there. 4.6 time was from his coach, so that is not official. So that's the asterisk to apply there. Moving on to his ranking. So all services had him as a 4-star. Rivals extremely bullish on him in their top 100 nationally. ESPN and 247 are a little less bullish, just outside of their top 200. He's around 15 to 20 depending on who you ask. Number 10 outside linebacker in the composite, right around number 1 or 2 in Massachusetts, again depending on who you ask, but unanimously a strong 4-star prospect here. He's a verified 6'1", 227 at the opening regional back in May of 2019. Looking at his recruitment, Don Brown offered Mullings back in 2017. Boston College offered 3 days afterwards, and a slew of offers came shortly thereafter. He has visited Michigan 7 times throughout his recruitment. He was asked whether he wanted offense or defense in college. He was open to both. He said he probably has a higher ceiling at linebacker, as well as considering the longevity of the running back position. So visit to Michigan and early offer made the difference for him there. Michigan is projecting him as an inside linebacker. Notre Dame was a big factor in his recruitment. They were recruiting him primarily as running back. Stanford and Wisconsin both were as well. They also got visits. Stanford was a close choice for him. He wasn't feeling it on the visit. Texas was there late as well, as Northwestern also got a visit. So obviously this is a supremely high athletic kid. His mother was a Cornell grad. A lot of interest in academics there within the family, but obviously he's prioritizing these programs that have very strong academic programs. Outside of those offers I already mentioned, he also had Duke, Clemson, Penn State, Ohio State, Boston College, and many, many others. So an extremely impressive offer list. Looking at his scouting, very aggressive player, hip fluidity. He takes relatively good angles most of the time. Elite frame already. Good burst in the first 3 steps. Sifts through traffic to make tackles. And good speed. A lot of this is from 247, but other various outlets as well. Some of the negatives: has to play lower at the point of attack. Adding flexibility will be important. There are some concerns about being physically topped out. I personally hate this criticism because a lot of times the 5-star recruits are guys that are already topped out, so I don't see that as a negative. There are some durability questions given his previous injuries. All right, let's jump into the film here real quick. All right, first few clips here are blitzing. Blitzing isn't my favorite aspect of his game. While he has good burst, it isn't an explosive burst. He is able to pick his way through traffic well once he's getting through the line of scrimmage. So he doesn't burst through, but he does well to work through traffic. He has a good stutter move. He picked that up from his time at running back. Will suit him well in the pass rush. I mentioned this is mainly hits here, but these are more general linebackering things. He does really well to pick through traffic here. It's very impressive. He does well with his shuffle. He has good instincts for the position overall. I do think he can use his frame a little bit better to stack and shed a little bit better. He has to grow there a bit. He doesn't bring a whole lot of pop to his hits, so not necessarily a bad thing, but he does wrap well. He does hit with good technique. Guys just aren't being super affected by this. Again, I really like that hesitant move and his pursuit. That's one thing that he does a lot very well. Pursues down the line with those angles. He has a seemingly very good motor, and that's good to see. In coverage, so I mentioned one of his downsides, not one of the most fluid hips in coverage. When he has a chance to open up and run, I really like him there. He does have adequate speed at the inside linebacker position. He's a good athlete there. I really liked his instincts when he was in zone coverage in the middle of the field. He follows the eyes of the quarterback really well and just positions himself well for pass breakups like that instance and interceptions. So I really like his hands. I'll show that section next, but excellent hands for the position. He could just use some fluidity that'll help with some technique an improvement at the position over the years. Good pick here on this last play. All right, this next section here, he was deployed as a kind of a wide-out tight end sort of guy. Does some very nuanced things well. I like his initial release. Very little wasted movement here, actually. He can adjust to the ball really well in the air, which is pretty impressive. Good hands, pretty good after the catch, showing off those running back moves. Obviously, his route running could be a little bit improved, but he wasn't asked to do a whole lot of complex routes, so that would come with time if used. But yeah, overall, I was just impressed with his athleticism overall. He did have this weird sense to ask for the ball when he's in open coverage, but he has good awareness for the position. I like this slant right here, especially. He's able to catch and work through traffic pretty well. All right, watch this first run. This first clip really has a bit of everything I like. That initial burst, really good subtle cuts here, working through traffic, switch the ball hand, get the stiff arm, and then down the sideline. It's pretty impressive here. He does subtle things really well. I mentioned the stiff arm. That's pretty consistent throughout this film. Good hands here out of the backfield on a little flare pass. He has the size to bully people as well. I think he's a patient runner and powerful driver in his running style, but he does have that sidestep move that I mentioned that's very subtle, but his hesitancy really throws defenders off and creates bad angles with that shiftiness that he displays. So it seems to me that he has a different gear when playing running back that I don't see as much as a linebacker. So I think he has this kind of rare combination of like that burst right there. That's something I didn't really see as much in his linebacker film. Obviously, you're reacting as a linebacker. You're not able to burst through holes as quick when you're in a reactionary standpoint than you are when you're a running back. But honestly, his film really stood out to me as a running back. That subtle cut through the hole, and then that jump cut right there, just saying that guy flying. These are things that are hard to do at 6'1", 230, and he makes them look pretty easy. Now, caveats of being in Boston, Massachusetts apply, not the best programs he's going against, but regardless, I think this would stand out for a guy his size to be this mobile, to be this adept. That last clip, again, that jump cut is just insane. So I was really, really impressed with this running back film. And then finally, a couple clips here of punt return. The athleticism, catch over the shoulder on the run, pretty solid. Again, this shows off the field vision cutting across the field. So I like his vision plus vision. He won't be used in this aspect at Michigan. There are plenty of guys that Michigan has better suited for this role, but I think this is just good to show the overall athleticism that he brings. All right, so for his comparison, I'm going to throw it out there because I feel like I have to. A.J. Dillon, right? This was a former Michigan commit, 6'1", 230 out of high school. He was a high 3-star on the composite. He was a 4-star to 247. Listed as an athlete, he was primarily a running back with pretty insane numbers out of Connecticut, I believe. But Michigan wanted him as a linebacker. Obviously, he decommitted from Michigan, went to Boston College, and then got drafted in the second round to the Green Bay Packers. Out of high school, A.J. Dillon had a 4.59 40 with a 36-inch vertical, so I do think he's probably a better athlete than Kalel Mullings, but Mullings stands out on film maybe a little bit more than Dillon did. Anyways, I see a lot of the same skills at running back, a very good sidestep, very good burst off of the first couple steps, an adept stiff arm, plus vision, the powerful lower body at 230, good hands out of the backfield, and a patient runner. Does well off of blocks and using his blocks effectively. So I'm not saying that Kalel Mullings is A.J. Dillon. I just see a lot of the same skill set. They both jump out at me at the running back film out of high school here. If you want to go with the linebacker, I'm looking at Shaquille Quarterman. This was a 4th-round pick in the 2020 draft out of Miami. He was a high 4-star out of high school, just outside of the top 100 in the 247 composite. Similar build, if not a little thicker than Kalel Mullings. He's a guy who is a beast between the tackles, effective as a blitzer, good knack for closing angles, high intensity. I think he ran in the 4.6s at the combine, but he hustles very well. He's a solid pursuit guy, gets over the top on outside run concepts well. The cons, not crazy about his zone coverage. He appears to be a bit stiff in coverage and questionable on his coverage on backs out of the backfield. Needs to work on stack and shed a bit, and his pad level is a little bit high. So similar cons there. True inside linebackers that could struggle in coverage. I see the same sort of possible deficiencies for Kalel Mullings. Looking at projection. So here's the thing. He's going for longevity of his career. Linebacker, I think that's the smart move. If you want to be in the NFL for a while, linebacker is a better move than running back. I think he could have a career at running back, and I honestly like the film with the ball in his hands more than his linebacker film. I think that speed-power combination is really intriguing at running back. I understand that Michigan is a speed and space operation now, so you had programs like Stanford, Wisconsin, Notre Dame going after him as a running back. Those are programs that generally churn out pretty good running backs, and while I agree with his choice to go linebacker for his career, I like his upside at running back more. I still think he can be a very good linebacker. He has an NFL frame at either position. Give him a red shirt. Right now you have Cam McGrone and Josh Ross for 2020 at the Mike linebacker position. 2021 onwards, you'll have him competing with Charles Thomas, who at the time will be a junior, and then fellow 2020 recruit Cornell Wheeler. So I'd expect him to be at least a multi-year starter. I want to see him at running back, though, but I think he's smart. He's smarter than me. He's going for linebacker, so can't blame the guy there. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in this episode. Again, the links in the description for the Black Lives Matter movement. I appreciate you guys supporting. Again, reach out. Let me know how you guys are doing. I know these are trying times. Beyond that, send me a shout on Twitter at Steven Toski. Stay safe out there. As always, go blue.